The crowd going wild here for Donald Trump's speech. He hit a lot of the big themes that he's been hitting in this campaign: the need for law and order, border control, ridding the world of ISIS, the economy, and lots more. I'm here with Lou Dobbs, and Charlie Gasparino, and David Asman. You know, it was a long speech, but I'll tell you, every single person in this room stayed engaged. They responded to him, Lou. He had him.
Indeed, and he still got him. This is, right now, this is a love affair. These delegates, and it's interesting, contrasting this to each of the nights, these folks have been standing up, and I mean, there were a lot of delegations where you saw people sort of holding back pre-cruise. There was a little diffidence you could sense and hear in some of the comments after the roll call voice vote on the first night. But the truth is, these people are demonstrating real enthusiasm for this guy who just went through. What did he talk? I mean, it was well over an hour.
It was a long speech. You know, it's very interesting. I was following along with the copy that we had gotten, and he took a lot of moments there, Charlie, and played to the crowd a little bit. You know, he didn't stick entirely to the prompter.
This was his best teleprompter speech ever. You got the impression that, I've said this before, he learned how to read the teleprompter so well he didn't want to stop. But it was a very, listen, we could quibble about a few things. I don't know how he's going to prevent companies from going overseas and making iPhones or whatever. That's a quibble. But from a substance standpoint, he laid out his agenda pretty well, pretty specifically on taxes, on trade, whether you agree with it or not. From a rhetorical standpoint, he was excellent. Listen, we've been working a full day, so we were getting a little tired in between that, so we're saying it's too long. This crowd was totally engaged. People were standing up throughout the whole thing. I mean, Donald Trump made the best case he's ever made for being president tonight.
I would love to see a picture of the Trump family up there on that stage, because they are the heart of the movement. And it is extraordinary as the balloons come down on cue. The Pence family, the Trump family.
But did you ever think he would give a speech like that? That was a substantive speech.
By the way, he just defied the expectations of everyone today over the course of 5 hours. I asked, well, what do you expect him to do? What must he do? Well, he did almost none of it. He actually prosecuted the case against Hillary Clinton. He went straight to the State of the Union in an unvarnished way and managed to make it. He didn't make it poetry, but he certainly gave it some considerable level of prose, and I thought that was impressive.
Let's play a little devil's advocate. The trade stuff he's gonna have to answer to that. The difference between his position on trade and Mike Pence is still pretty stark. You basically said it.
Mike Pence doesn't get that vote. That is the Donald Trump agenda.
I know.
No more Pence, no more Cruz. This is now the Trump agenda.
Running mate, and a lot of Republicans are going to say, okay, we're going to prevent Apple. So most Republicans won't care about like, what's he going to do? Tax Apple for making iPhones overseas? I mean, he's really going to do that.
Charlie, I think you just saw a man on that stage who's going to do exactly what he said.
I don't believe it, but we'll see.
Well, that's all right.
And the other thing is, you know,
next week we got some people who will agree with
the wall. No, a lot of Republicans agree with me, Lou. That's the problem. He's got to broaden his base. It's a quibble, but it's real. It's real.
He hit a lot of things. Safety right now is a big concern in this country. You know, you think about where we are and the challenges we face, and he's right. I mean, in our lifetimes, we really haven't felt it like
this is the single most unvarnished presentation of the issues that face this country in the most profound and threatening manner. And he took it all on. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. And he didn't cut, in my judgment, any corners on what has to be done.
I mean, listen, everybody's worried about law enforcement right now. I mean, listen, you can talk about trade. I would love to talk about lowering the corporate tax rate, okay? But think about it in the hierarchy of things you have to worry about if you're the average American. It ain't the corporate tax rate.
That's why he didn't bring it up until the end.
I know, but he actually didn't bring up the corporate tax rate at all, did he? I don't remember.
He brought up taxes that he's going to
tax, but I mean,
at the end.
The reason why Apple goes overseas.
And by the way, he did bring up corporate taxes.
But the reason why
he even made the point that it's the highest corporate tax rate.
But the reason why Apple goes overseas, it's not because they want to.
They can get cheap labor, but
no, because their corporate tax rate here. One of the reasons.
That's a big part of it.
Baloney.
Tax rate, but also it's cheap labor.
It's cheap labor, but we tax our corporations higher here than ever before. That's why they moved to London and not here.
So here's the thing. You say it resonated with everyone in this room, Lou. Did it resonate with everyone at home? Because like I said, it's very different when you're in a big room like this and there's all this excitement. Does it come across if you're sitting at home in your living room?
I can't give you the honest answer to that, and I certainly don't mean to imply everyone in this room is as enthused as about 80% of the people. But the fact is, he has laid out the issues. He's laid out the challenges and his response, and I think he did so in a compelling way.
I got to ask you guys, I mean, everybody keeps criticizing him for not being substantive enough. And here we are, we're talking, but all through this campaign, we're talking about trade. We're talking about corporate taxes. We're talking about things that we in the financial news media have talked about forever, and now suddenly it is the most relevant thing aside from terrorism.
Because of that guy.
Because of him, exactly.
Let's be clear, he really wasn't that substantive until lately, and this is the most substantive speech he's given. And listen, like I said,
I think the point is that we are talking about these issues. Nobody likes to get.
We've been talking about those issues for a long time. Donald Trump has gotten to be a better candidate.
But he's driven the conversation.
Well, he's changed. He's gotten a lot better. There's no doubt about that. This speech, if he was given 6 months ago.
He is the only candidate, and he was the first candidate to bring up these issues in order. They were not being discussed until Donald Trump entered the race on June 16th of last year. He started talking about international trade, the impact of it. He started talking about illegal immigration and its consequences. He started talking about border security. I'm sorry?
He stole the immigration line from Ted Cruz.
Ted
Cruz has been doing it forever.